Hi Cancer, here's a general look at your solar chart for November 2011. Now this month there's a lighter, brighter, more spontaneous kind of vibration around, but there's also the possibility that you're going to get an awful lot done on sort of basic levels. So there's likely to be opportunities to do the kinds of things you enjoy, with the people you like to hang out with, all the sort of activities that you find empowering and helps you to shine your light. So it can be anything, that really does give you a sense of your own uniqueness and your own creative core. That this is where the sun is at the moment. And it could actually put you at the center of attention at times. So there may be admiring glances coming your way, or maybe they're being exchanged and going both ways, because you meet somebody that you find attractive and the feeling is mutual. So for some of you there's going to be more involvement in romance or children, actually, young people, animals. Really this area is to do with connecting with source energy. So animals, children, the natural world, they're always in contact with source. The younger the better. And this, those sorts of encounters are going to bring out your inner child. They're going to connect you back with your power. You see, so this is where the sun is at the moment. You're likely to be getting involved, those sorts of energies are likely to be coming towards you, because that's going to be manifesting the vibration of where the sun is. However, you're going to be keeping a weather eye on finances. You're going to be keeping your eye on the ball as well, because you want to be practical, you want to be organized, you want to be methodical, you want to get your act together as well. But there is this light energy mixed in with all of that. You could be in a very helpful, enthusiastic frame of mind, wanting to be of practical help, maybe asking how things work, the nuts and the bolts of things. And coordinating with another's requirements. Maybe this other is very much providing you with a tool, you with a space, you with a venue, you with ideas, this could work very well. If you team up with somebody, this could be centered around children, animals, leisure pursuits, competitive type activities, but also creative projects, any kind of creative venture that you've got going. Also, you should have quite a good relationship with co-workers, colleagues, also service providers, because Venus is there, oiling the wheels. And so if you want to approach somebody about work, this would be a good time. And anyone in a job-related or health-related situation could actually turn out as a kind of new friend. You make a new friend, or there could be a romantic encounter that could happen in a working environment, or when you're at work, or in a health-related environment as well. Now, from the 11th onwards, social life could take off like a rocket. Up until then, you're getting things sorted out on basic levels to do, maybe, with keeping an eye on the piggy bank and so on, stuff, basically. Really keeping your eye on the things that help us all survive in this life. So that's to do with money, property, possessions, and so on. But from the 11th onwards, social life is going to take off probably, and that's in person or over the wires. You could be mixing and mingling, flying hither and thither more than usual. A lot going on in your head. A lot of connecting with new contacts, maybe old threads being picked up from the past as well. That could be a possibility. Great time for, as I say, connecting, getting to know others, and very much being in the flow of information exchange. So you'll probably be learning a lot and getting your head around a lot and learning how to work things and do things as well. But there's a very practical slant here to all this potential movement, and you'll want to be realistic and careful as you go forwards. You can have lots of lists on your mind and feel a bit scattered or nervy or all over the place or overstretched. And also, because it's Mars and Mars is feisty, you could be seen as provocative, or the Mars energy could pull provocation towards you through particularly the male energy, but it can be anybody, I suppose. But you could be seen as provocative or bossy, or people find fault, because you've got Mars in this area, you want to be straight, you want to cut to the chase, you want to get things off your chest, you want to be very direct, and you might just have to soften your tone a little bit, because you want to speak and write in this assertive sort of a way. But others, maybe are reacting with that same quite aggressive energy. So you might want to just soften your tone a little bit, and be a little bit canny, a little bit shrewd. Your mind will probably be more upon practical chores, correspondence, paperwork, keeping a steady weather eye on health, but lots of comings and goings. Could be your health, could be another's health as well. And if it's not health, then it's just sort of well-being. And dealing with the mechanical details of daily life. But again, all of this area here looks very well starred, really. Vehicles, there may be issues around vehicles, transport, again, again, that's the Mars energy. Just watch it, and don't be too, less haste, more speed sort of idea. Don't be too hasty. And you should be feeling, though, very well supported in practical ways to do with daily tasks, what you've got to get done, the job, the employment market, or just employment, co-workers, service providers. This is an area that can facilitate and that you can learn a lot and you can do quite well in. Before the 24th, really, because Mercury goes retrograde then for 3 weeks. That means there could be some hiccups over that time to your well-laid plans or your expectations, but by the time Mercury goes direct, you should have started getting back into the saddle, back into gear, and rolling forward more steadily with things, and more predictably maybe as well. From the 23rd, a more matter-of-fact, work-orientated time begins. Now, the new moon is also a partial lunar eclipse this month on November the 25th. That's likely to open the door for positive change in daily routines and health and employment and work. Your health or another's health. It doesn't necessarily have to be your health, but it's to do with the job and work as well, and that's going to be over the subsequent month. So that's from the 25th of November to the 25th of December. But the solar eclipse on the 10th of December, the total solar eclipse on the 10th of December is going to really underpin that one and amp that energy right up. So that will be a potential for quite a bit of shifting and changing and new beginnings in the area of your work, and potentially around health and your general daily routines as well. What you do, how you do it, where you do it, who you do it with, that sort of thing. Now, every month I speak about the slower moving outer planets. You can go to my website and actually read this stuff, but just to recap, Jupiter's now in Taurus. That's going to very much favourably highlight connections across the wires, networking, anything to do with the internet really, but also friendships, also group gatherings in person, not just over the wires, and that's going to be lasting until next June now. This move of Jupiter is going to help you to progress. This is hugely beneficial for you, because the area that Jupiter is in is to do with progressing along lines that you've been waiting to. You've just been waiting to come in and do this thing, you know. And this is going to allow for growth in an area that you've had on the back burner, you know, that you're slowly growing through, but you're slowly building through as well. And you could be thinking quite futuristically about things, in quite unconventional ways about things, you know, breaking the mold, breaking barriers. It's quite a reformist area. It's a humanitarian area as well. So very well starred friendships, group involvements are going to help you get a better perspective yourself through being with others, and, you know, hearing all of their slants and points of view, but also, and you learning from that, you learning from teachers as well, sitting with a group of others, learning from a teacher maybe, but also you very much, you know, your own unique say going out there in however small or however big a way, because actually Jupiter, you can go pretty big with Jupiter if you think it's right for you and it's the right time. Now, until autumn 2012, the Saturn transit is going to be affecting the very roots of your life. That's the home base, domestic setup, your place on the map, family relationships. It could be, you know, one or any of those, many of those sorts of things, but it's about your roots, your foundations. And wherever Saturn is, there's an element of challenge, resistance, delay, testing energy. This is also quite an emotional area for you as well, and it's the area to do with, you know, what your responsibilities are, but also your old emotional baggage. And so time for you to let go of what you need to and readjust and tweak and redefine yourself kind of from the inside out, in a way, even though your outside environment might change quite radically. So recontouring your life, you know, from the inside out, really. And some of you could be changing it all together. And it's you looking within and clearing with yourself what you don't need to be carrying around with you anymore. Grudges, fears, you know, unhealthy habits, inappropriate responses. So yeah, so no pressure there then. But try to get as much of that sorted out as you possibly can. And there's a value in certain challenges maybe coming from parents, particularly the father energy, as a matter of fact, at this time, even though, you know, you don't want to, it doesn't feel like you're learning anything at the time. It just feels like a pain at the time. Actually, there is a value, and you are learning. You'll see that further down the line, you know, with the benefit of hindsight. And you could be already, some of you could be really pleased about how much you feel you have grown from within, and what you are discovering about your deeper self, your emotional needs, your emotional self, also about where you really feel you belong, who with, where you really belong, you know, and stuff about your ancestry as well, the past, harking back to the past, and feeling how the past is kind of almost like channeling through you into the present in some way. So just cherry pick the good bits. And now you Cancerians, 20 to 27 degrees, around about that, of Cancer rising, or born 12th to the 17th of 12th to the 19th of July, are likely to feel Saturn's influence mostly this month. Uranus is going to be transiting the top of your chart for many years. Uranus, the awakener. You know, Uranus at the top of your chart, well, that's very out there. You know, the Uranian transit, the top of your solar chart, means there's likely to be new beginnings with career and life direction, It's very experimental, so you need to sort of suck it and see whether it fits and whether it's right, and if it's not quite right, tweak it and refine it, you know, as you go along, or change it altogether, because Uranus is very much about change. But it's about humanitarian efforts, it's about group efforts, it's about everything to do with what I'm doing here now, you know. It does rule astrology, in fact, and astronomy, but also anything to do with IT and anything to do with new inventions, you know, in the communications sector, but new inventions across the board. It's very much, as I said, the awakener. It's got a reformist energy. So if it's transiting the career area of your chart, then you should be getting involved there somehow or other to meet that criteria, to allow your chart to work very well. Yes, there may be chopping and changing, because that's the nature of Uranus, but as I said, you know, you can tweak and refine and redefine. This month Uranus is going to be affecting you, Cancerians born between the 22nd to the 23rd of June, right at the very, very, very beginning, or with up to around about 1 to 2 degrees of Cancer rising. Neptune is back into the end of Aquarius until next February, blurring boundaries again, because you feeling that you don't quite have the control you'd like over property, whether it's material property or intellectual property, finances, spaces, other resources. You partly rely or have to share, you know, or you having to rely on somebody else's agenda or moral code even. You know, you've got to put up with it, really, or it could be an outside agency, it could be to do with money. So this is there until next February. Best to go round it and become more self-sufficient for yourself. I've been saying before that we're coming into a time now when the more we can short-circuit major lines of supply, or money itself is going to become the way to go as we go through 2012 and into 2013. It's more about exchange, more about getting back to basics there. And so that might be, you know, something for you to be aware of. You Cancers born on the 22nd of June, or with 1 degree of Cancer rising, or the last couple of days, around about the 21st, 22nd of July, or the last 1 or 2 degrees of Cancer rising, going to be most affected this month. And got to aim to be very clear about, you know, where those, what your requirements are in that area there, and how you'd like it to be. And Pluto is going to be in your close relationship sector for many a long year, and means that there's going to be endings and beginnings there, and occasional struggles with yourself more than anything else. Pluto's about evolution, so you're going to be evolved through the experiences, sometimes pretty tough, rough experiences that you have interacting, you know, in close relationship. That can be professional, that can be personal, but deep feelings triggered, and you reaching deeper than you knew you could. You didn't know there was all that down there. And this is the Pluto effect, and it's going to shift you, it's going to evolve you, it's going to transform you and regenerate you over this very long, slow transit, and enable you and really mature you. You Cancerians born 25th to the 30th of June, or with around about 3 to 8 degrees of Cancer rising, are likely to be feeling this vibration most strongly this month, manifesting as whatever. And that's it. That's all from me. If you know your rising sign and also your moon sign, it would be interesting to listen to those too. And it'll add to or subtract from what I've said here. And I'll see you the next time.